Hello and welcome back. Well, here we are once again at the boat. The last time I did a video on this, I was out here talking about it, and it's like, okay, so today's the day we're going to work on the air conditioner. Well, that's not today. Today, the air conditioner's running because I fixed it last week. There's a video on that. And today, I am going to start on the boat. So let's do a quick walk around, shall we? First off here, we have a big nick right here. We got some holes here where people had put on multiple trolling motors. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to grind all these holes out and repatch all these, and then here they've got some where they put silicone in it to fix the holes. That's not great. On our rub rail, all of the rope that the factory would have put in here is trash. So I'm going to take all that rope out. This is the original factory jack. It's broke, missing part of it, and I can't get the replacement parts for that. So this is also going to get taken out and gotten rid of. My strap on here, it looks a little worse for wear and a little rotted. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to replace the entire winch, which works, or if I'm going to replace just the strap. I can do either. This piece here is also pretty broken. The jack that they put on, this one will get removed. That one there, I'm just going to cut it out, and I'm going to buy one of the frame jacks that has the 3 bolt holes, and just have a hole here, here, and here, slide it down through there, and then have the jack with the crank on the top. The bow eye here, they've tried to silicone this, that ain't gonna work. There's actually a big rip in the fiberglass. So what I'm going to do for that is, and I've already ordered some Kusa board, is I'm going to cut a piece of Kusa. I'm going to remove this eye, which is really simple. I just got to take these bolts out of this, take this completely off, and then that'll be open, and I can get right to it. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to put a piece of Kusa on the inside and then laminate vinyl ester resin over it, which I'll be working down through this hole. I've already partially cleaned that out. The panel that used to be right here is broken. That panel I have removed. It's currently in the house, and you can see the bag. I've started doing a little bit of cleaning on here. Now that Gen Con's over, I can work on the boat. And here we have the carpet. You can see it's in really not great shape. It just peels off and falls apart. So I'm going to remove all that carpet. This deck right here. Now, this is not a bass boat. So it may look like a bass boat, and some people would call it a bass boat. This is not a bass boat. This is actually a fishing ski. That's why it has what looks like seat backs right there. Those seat backs are for seats that used to be where this wood is, that they obviously bought from Home Depot or Lowe's. Good wood, not for a marine environment. Should be marine ply. It's not marine ply, so it's all rotted and nasty. But the actual thing stopped right here. And then there were 2 seats. This is your live well, and that center section there that they turned into storage was open. Well, that part there is going to get removed, and I'm going to put this back to the way it was from the factory, which means that I'm going to need to mold new seat tops out of fiberglass. I'm going to need to make a new lid for the live well out of fiberglass, and I'm going to have to make new seats, which will require me to simply make the seat tops and then upholster them. The window here is broken. Now these windows from Ranger are actually plexiglass. They're not very, they're great, but they're not great. So what I'm working on doing right now, and I'm getting ready to order this, is I'm going to order some polycarbonate in an 1/8 inch thick, and I'm going to remold these windows like this out of the polycarbonate, which you can do with a heat gun. And later on when I do that, I'll video it and show you how to do it. The dashboard here, well, I was told that nothing on this dashboard works. So here we have, I guess this is plastic. It feels like plastic, but a plastic insert. Well, I'm going to make a new insert out of carbon fiber. When I make that new insert, I'm going to lay out the carbon fiber on a flat sheet of, well, a dry erase board with some PVA mold release. Should come out to be a pretty good thing by the time I get it all done and over with. And then I got to paint it with a special paint that blocks the UV light. I may get a new steering wheel. This one seems okay. They do have a problem with some of these boats, actually, the steering locking up on them, or with a cable steering, they have a problem with torque steer, where when you really lay into it, it'll fight back against you. Well, I don't know if this one's going to do that or not. We're not going to worry too much about whether or not this one's going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it this way, and if it has a problem, doesn't seem to run great, well, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to put a VVOR hydraulic steering on it. Underneath of the seats here, we've got, you know, more freebie stuff. I got some fishing equipment, fishing gear. And then if somebody really wanted, we could put in our 2 cents, I guess, because I got a free 2 cents. Then we come back to here. Well, this little door right here, I opened it up earlier, is completely full of parts and fishing equipment. So I'm going to go through all the parts and the fishing equipment. I'm going to find out what I got. Because, hey, nothing wrong with free tackle. And then back here, this is your bilge area. Now in the bilge area, we have a big panel down there. There's a screw missing, well, loose. There's an oil tank in here. Now that oil tank is for the 2-cycle oil that goes for the 2-cycle engine. Now, Mercury makes a good boat motor. I like Mercury boat motors. From what I've seen most of the time, they're fairly reliable and a good engine. However, what I'm going to do is, since Mercury in their infinite wisdom decided to put in a plastic gear to run your automatic oil pump, I bought a kit that gets rid of that plastic gear. I will have to mix my oil, and I won't be able to just use the automatic oiler and dump oil in one tank and the other, but that's okay. I'll just mix it. Now, there's 2 gas tanks on this boat. One of the gas tanks is right here, and I'm assuming this is the one that they always use, because the other one, as I was looking through, isn't, I believe, hooked up, because they've got a new gray fuel line on here. Well, I can tell you, these plastic fuel lines, they lack greatness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that gray fuel line, and I'm going to replace it with actual marine grade fuel. Now back here, I believe this is your, I want to run this gas tank or I want to run this gas tank. That most likely is going to go away. My thought is, instead of having that and my seats, these are the seat backs. Now my thoughts on the fuel situation is, instead of having where the boat at this current time has the two fuel lines, and some of that down inside of there looks like it's not the greatest, I'm going to remove all that fuel line, and I'm going to put in a pump that will take the fuel from this gas tank and put it into that gas tank. These are your sending units for your fuel tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove those. I'm going to measure how deep down that is. I might keep those. One of the thoughts on this is I'm going to get a O-meter, and I'm going to see if this works. And if it does, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put two fuel gauges on the dashboard. One of the fuel gauges will be for this tank, one of the fuel gauges will be for that tank, and in the end it will simply say, this is how much gas is in this tank, this is how much in this one. Now, if I put a switch up there on the dashboard with a fuel pump back here that will let me transfer fuel from this tank to that tank, I can use this fill to fill this gas tank, and then whenever I get out driving around, it'll run all the old gas out of that tank, and then whenever I start getting low on fuel, I can flip the switch and pump it all from here to there. That'll be a good thing. Then we look here, this is another container. It's kind of hard to get into because I can't reach it very well from where I'm standing. That has lots of things in it as well. These life jackets are the kind that you yank they got a big CO2 cartridge on them, and you yank this, it pulls this up, pierces this CO2 tank, and inflates this vest. We also have drill a big hole and put this on your thing to hold your fishing pole. Those will not get used. We have some rotten loose carpet here. I'll just throw that up there with my garbage bag. And we have some bobbers, more of these life vests, big, I believe this is a cast net. Oh, I got me some sandpaper. All right, Master Pro wet dry sandpaper. I can start sanding my boat. Yep, that's a cast net. So, one of the first, if you watch any boat video, things that you have to do with any new boat. Oh, and by the way, there's a little door right there. That is the rear live well. So that's what we have so far on the boat. And if you watch any YouTube videos on somebody redoing a boat, the videos always start off with person cleaning the boat. Well, this video is not going to be any different. I'm going to start cleaning up everything on the boat. Like I said, I've already ordered some new stuff for the boat. I've ordered a piece of Coosa wood for the bow eye up there. I haven't ordered my new bow eye yet. I've ordered some epoxy resin. So, there's another video I watched recently on Tiny Boat Nation where he's doing a very in-depth review and rebuild of a bass boat. He's going a lot farther than I'm going. His transom was rotted out, his stringers were rotted out, his floor was weak. This boat does not have that problem. Most of what's wrong with this boat is either people not doing things correctly, not using the right materials, not doing, or the windows being broke off. So I recommend his video. It's pretty awesome as well. I mean, he's doing a lot of work on that boat. This one, I don't really have that much work to do. I'm going to recarpet. Now, I am very strongly considering, because this boat was originally gold and now it's silver, and well, the texture of this glitter on the top here, this is, it feels like sandpaper because all of the clear coat is oxidized and basically gone. And I'm really seriously considering re-gel coating this boat, as well as putting on new carpet, building new seats, reupholstering all of those seats. I've got to make new tops for this. I'll be using vinyl ester resin and biaxial fiberglass for that. And I'll probably end up making the molds, and I'll show the entire process of making the mold, making the piece, this, that, and this and that. But on his video, when I was watching it, he actually breaks down the amount of time that he spent working on the boat. And he also shows, this is how much money I've spent. I did order the kit already to switch the engine away from auto mixing the oil. And I have also ordered my piece of Kusa for the eye up there, and a few other little miscellaneous things. So at the end of the video, because today I plan on doing some cleaning, I may get started ripping out this deck, but I'm gonna head off into the garage here in a little bit. I'm gonna go get me a 5-gallon bucket, and I'm going to start cleaning out all the fishing equipment and see what I got, because I've got quite a bit of stuff I could put in my tackle box now. I'm also going to get out the batteries, and I'm going to put those on the little trickle charger I have, and I'm going to see, you know, can they be saved? I don't know. I might have to get new batteries. Not that big of a deal. And yeah, so let the games begin. At this point, I decided to just fast forward through all of the boring part of me just digging through panels and cleaning. Doesn't seem like something that would be really fun to watch in real time, so this is actually at 10 times speed. It's just me finding things in the boat. Everything I'm wanting to keep, I'm putting into the bucket, and everything I want to get rid of, I'm just throwing off into the large garbage can I have sitting beside the boat on the driveway. I found a lot of stuff in this boat. I found like, I don't know, a whole 5-gallon bucket of fishing lures and different things like hooks, pliers. I found a very, very rusted fillet knife I'm going to actually try to fix. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff in the boat. It's going to need a lot of cleanup. The glove box was completely full of water, so what I'm going to end up doing with it is just drilling a hole in the bottom so that it'll drain. And I'm probably going to remove the carpet that's inside of the glove box, because that's just a nice big sponge that's going to hold a whole bunch of water against whatever I have in there. And I'm probably going to replace that carpet that they have in the glove box with something that's not carpet. Now, back to the normal audio of the video. In here, I have a battery, a Rural King battery. that nobody ever you always see car batteries. Every car battery manufacturer puts a thing on these batteries that says January, February, blah, 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 and then it's got a date code on there. Nobody ever pulls out the thing to these batteries, so I don't know how old that battery is.
Once again, I decided to go ahead and fast forward through a whole bunch of the boring sort search and slowly show the progress of filling up my bucket. Those things that I'm throwing up there to the front, they look like they're made out of the same wire loom that I use on my 3D printers. I'm not exactly sure what they are. They say Bass Pro Shops on the side of them. One end is sealed and the other end has a little drawstring type deal on it. I think I talk about those later on in the video, and I thought maybe these are fishing pole rod covers of some sort. Not exactly sure what they are, but if you know what they are, leave it down in the comments, because I'm not quite sure. Anyway, I go digging through, I find quite a bit, like an immense amount of fishing stuff. I'm probably going to have to go ahead and buy another tackle box just to hold all of it, because I have a little one, but oh my god, that whole 5-gallon bucket is full of stuff when I get done. And you know, some of it is pliers and tools and things of that nature, and some of it is well, most of it is actually fishing equipment, lures, worms, brand new, still in the packages. So I'll keep all of that stuff. I'll go down and buy me a new big fishing pole or a tackle box for my fishing poles, and I'll go through that bucket of stuff. I'm probably not going to do that on the video. And yeah, back to the audio in the actual video.
Let's see what this is. It's a fillet knife. A very, very rusted fillet knife. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, stainless steel will actually rust if you have a metal up against it that is capable of rusting. It sets up galvanic corrosion, and you can rust stainless steel.
In that part of the video there, I actually mentioned the galvanic corrosion of the stainless steel that knife was made out of. There were probably hooks and stuff down inside of that box that were up against it, and they're not stainless steel. They would be some other kind of metal. So what ends up happening with the galvanic corrosion is it acts like a battery. So that is why if you go look at, like, if you watch the Battleship New Jersey's channel, they talk about the zincs on the outside of the ship. It's pretty much the same thing. The zinc will actually rust itself away, and that protects the other part of the ship, the part of the ship that's actually steel. That's why they put the zinc on there. The same thing will happen with stainless steel. The metal that was up against that knife blade actually acted like a battery, and the galvanic corrosion ruined the blade.
Thank you for coming along on the journey with me of cleaning up this old boat. Camera got hot and quit again. So I went ahead and, worked a little bit more. So in the end, what I ended up with here is that 5-gallon bucket full of fishing equipment, that battery, and all this stuff here. This is all going to go in the garage. The knife I'm going to take and I'm going to try to run that on my wire wheel and see if I can clean it up. Like I said, stainless steel, if you put a dissimilar metal against it, will rust. It's a galvanic corrosion. It acts like a battery and rusts it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to wire wheel that and see if I can fix it and clean it up and get it at least be a good knife. If not, it's get thrown in the trash can, because I've got 3 or 4 other fillet knives anyway, so that's not a big deal. So yeah, pretty much got all the cleaning done. In the next episode, I'm probably going to go ahead and start ripping out this carpet and trying to rip up some of this floor. The tops here I'll probably have to go ahead and leave for now, because that's the only thing keeping all the water out of those containers is that plywood, and it's not doing a great job, but it's doing a job, so I'll leave it for now. And I'll go ahead and order some vinyl ester resin and some other materials to start working on remaking the seats, ripping all this apart. Join us next time. Peace.
So here's the update after the first day of working on the boat. I have 2 hours, 30 minutes of total working time on the boat, which was just digging through all the things, cleaning it all out. And of all of the things that I mentioned in the video that I ordered, I have $208.34 so far. That's going to go up. So join us next time to continue. Next time I'm going to rip out all that plywood in the front, get all that out of there, and let the ordering commence. I'm going to start ordering the things to make the front seats and make some of the other things. I did have to rebuild the carburetor on my pressure washer today and things because it wasn't running. So I got a new carburetor kit. I'm not really going to include stuff like that in the video for the boat because I needed to fix my pressure washer anyway. So next time, till then, see ya.